Evaluation question 7. Looking back at your preliminary task, what do you feel you've learned in the progression from it to the full product?
So should we start with images?
Yep. I think mine's changed quite a bit. I did a lot of editing on the first image that I took, but it came out really bright, which meant that a lot of the lighter coloured text you can't see at all, and that's for the front page image. I think it's centred well, but apart from that, it's just way too bright. The images on the contents page are good, but they're not really focused, and they all look the same colour. It's like they're the same colour to the background of the contents, and there's just too much yellow. It really doesn't look good.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Well, obviously on my front page, I think I mastered getting the medium shot on my front page, but like you said with the editing, I was like playing around with it. So I think I went a bit overboard with like making sure all these like blemishes are out and stuff. And as for the photos on the contents page, there's nothing really to them. Like you can't, from like looking at the contents page, you can't actually tell what they are because they're so like, they're just not very focused like yours, and they don't really look professional, if I'm honest. But compared to my actual front page and my contents page, they all look pretty professional, really.
Yeah, I mean, mine's the same really. I think I got the medium shot done quite well, but as Brooke said, it was just very overexposed because the way I edited it, the pictures. But on my actual front page, there's a lot more darker colours, so it makes it stand out more.
Yeah, I agree. It's the same as me. And I think, like, as well as that, on our actual final task with the pictures on the contents page, I think we were all sure to actually put kind of borders around the photos
Yeah.
Yeah.
to make them look better. Whereas on the preliminary task, we kind of just put the photos in there as they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I think with the actual preliminary, we made sure we put we put photos of the person that was on the front page, like kind of big and dotted around. But in the final task, we made it more discreet. And I think it looked more professional.
Yeah.
How we done it.
Yeah, like with my contents page, there's different people from the front page, but it's the same person all on the contents.
Yeah.
There's three
same as
images, and they're all the same person, the same clothes,
Yeah.
in the same places.
That's
That's
exact
another
same
thing,
as my
like,
contents.
That's another thing with the contents page pictures. They're all got the same feel to them. So they've more or less literally all got the same background.
All had to
Yeah.
be something to do with like school.
Whereas with
Yeah.
the actual magazine, we could play around with it.
Yeah.
And make it all different.
Like you could have live performance photos
Yeah,
or
that's
like
what I know. We all done that. We put
Studio
concert
photos.
in.
Yeah.
And I had one on my artist and then two on my concert just to switch it up a bit, and I
Yeah.
think that worked quite well.
It's
Yeah.
quite hard to differ when you've just been set to do something in school, but when we had the final
Freedom at
task,
home.
we had the freedom to do the genre we wanted,
Yeah.
where we
I
wanted
think
to
it
take
was much
them.
more easier to actually choose what you wanted to do.
Definitely.
And what else should we discuss?
Should we move on to something else? Should we talk about the fonts and the text that we've used?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
I'll go first. Definitely on my preliminary task front page, as I was saying, the colour of the image is so bright, and for some reason I decided to put white text on it,
Yeah.
and it really, you can't understand what I'm trying to say. The colours of all the text are different. It's terrible.
Although something I do like about yours is like you've got the border and then the GCSE revision.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
that stands out.
Yeah, that's something I moved on to. Like, I used that in my final pieces. I used boxes as borders to make it like
Yeah.
stand out more. But for the rest of it, like, there's no borders behind the text. The text is all one font. It looks very simple.
Yeah. No, I agree. Then also I'd say about my colours, like on my preliminary, like because I use such a strong background for my photos of like trees and stuff for the front page, the colours completely do not go with it at all. So where I've tried to put 2016 highest GCSE grade, you can't even read it as well as the so far, which doesn't really look good. And I think I did use different fonts like all throughout, but even though I did use a consistent colour scheme, it didn't really look well compared to the actual front page and contents page where although they're the same fonts, I made sure that the colour scheme was consistent. You could actually tell what I was going for.
Yeah, that's exactly the same as mine for my preliminary task. There was just way too much blue and yellow. Like you can hardly see some of the cover lines where they've blended in with the background. But like Josie said, I did sort of have a house style of a colour scheme, which I've made sure to do in my magazine front page. But yeah, just there was so much yellow and blue I used in my prelim task.
I think that's another thing we talk about is cover lines all throughout it. Because I think for my preliminary task, I used so many cover lines.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
same.
And some that didn't even make sense. Like, if you can see, if I zoom in, where it says top 10 tips to master maths, I didn't even put it. I didn't have the left justification and the right justification, so it doesn't look good compared to the actual final front page where everything is all in line, it's all in sync, and it just looks about. I use a lot less cover lines to
Mine
fit my
looks a lot more
genre.
crowded on my prelim task than my main task. There's just way too much going on with the badge and the logo and the September edition sticker. It's
Yeah.
just way too
all over
much.
the place.
That's the opposite to me. I'd say my front page for my preliminary task is really empty.
Really.
I've left justified and right justified, but then like under where it says Easter, in between there and how many hours of homework, there's a massive gap that has nothing to do with the photo.
Yeah.
It's not like it's, you know, I've decided for some reason to overlap the text over the person by a lot instead of just spreading it out a little bit more, and it looks like more could be there, like more information. And also the text I've included, some of it I haven't even carried on to the contents. It's just text there that I put that was slightly relevant, but I didn't follow it on, so it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, I think mine's a bit different than that. Like, I use the same fonts as my cover lines for my main subtitles on my contents page because I wanted them
that's
to
the same as me.
be
It
bold.
but mine just doesn't look good.
But yeah, it just
Yeah, and I think another thing was like page furniture, if there is any to talk about.
Yeah.
Because I think with my preliminary, I didn't even know what page furniture really
Yeah.
was. I hardly used anything. It's just all kind of just looks like a blob of consistent writing. Like, it doesn't look eye-catching, but compared to the final contents page, perhaps I've got splatters on it to make it more different fonts all over, and boxes, like transparent boxes, like you said you use, and little things like that, like squares, circles, anything like that.
We thought at this stage that page furniture was just the logos, and that was all we included.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
another thing, I didn't even include a page number on my preliminary contents page.
No, neither did I.
So
I included the page numbers,
Yeah,
but not the page number of the contents.
that's another thing. I didn't even make the numbers, like talking about back to fonts on my preliminary task. I didn't make them stand out that much compared to the actual final page, where I make sure they properly stood out so much more.
Yeah. No, mine's the same. Like, on my prelim task for the boxes of my Wilmington Word, the box behind is so, like, it's the opacity is very high, whereas for my front page and contents page, I turned down the opacity behind the boxes behind the text, so that it was more of a subtle, eye-catching detail.
I've got something else to say as well, just about the page numbers as well. Like, we put magazine identity in the actual final page, like final contents page.
Yeah.
I think that's what we learned. You needed something
You needed to
consistent.
brand
Whereas
the
with
magazine.
this, all we had for it was the badges with preliminary tasks, but I still don't think that was effective enough to make it produce.
We thought that having the same colour text would be the thing that would carry on the house style and carry on the look of it, but even that, I haven't even done that. Like, the text is blue on my contents, and then it's maroon and white on the other, and there's no flow to it.
Yeah.
So, should we talk about colours?
Yeah, let's talk about colours. I'll go first. As I've been saying, the brightness of my front page was like incredibly bright, so I thought I'd contrast it with maroon colours, but I didn't really take into consideration the fact that there was green in there, and the green is obviously darker, so you can't really read the Wilmington News, and then for some reason I decided to put white text, so you can't read that at all. As I've said, the only good thing I really did was kind of overlap it in front of the photo, because the person in it is wearing black clothes, so the maroon stands out a little bit more. And obviously where I've put the white text GCSE revision in the box.
I think as well, what actually does look good about your colour scheme is that in the contents page, all the blue.
Yeah.
Although it is like, if we was to actually do that, it'd be a bit boring for the final task. But
yeah, definitely.
It does look good for the preliminary.
I knew what I was doing slightly.
Yeah.
I also like when you've put like new edition at the top. That sort of makes it look just a bit more interesting and just
stops it from all looking straight.
Straight,
It's like I've got all the underlining, all the lines going down. The images aren't slanted in any way. It just looks very standard.
Yeah.
So into my colour scheme, well, for the preliminary I chose something of maroon, black, white, but I think I didn't really like how I set it out looking back at it now, because it really contrasts the badge with the Wimbledon. It's like, although I used in the background of my preliminary task, the school's logo, the colours completely contrast it and I don't really think it looks so good, but compared to the actual final task, you can see it in my final front page, final contents page, and final double page spreads. You can tell there's a consistent colour scheme of red, black, white and grey.
Yeah.
So I made sure you could tell that by all the grime. Chip taught me how to clean myself that, the black and white, greys, black. So I think, yeah, I actually learned that. And from doing all our research as well, I found that colour schemes are actually like, it's something you don't actually notice about a magazine
But it's so important.
until you actually look at it, because you don't really notice it in a lot of magazines. Like if you look back on our research and stuff,
Yeah.
there's so many out there that actually have such a consistent colour scheme, and often they do it to match what the artist is wearing. But in our preliminary task,
It's the
We
thing
didn't
that
follow that
draws
at
you
all.
in. The colour draws you in. You don't know it.
Yeah.
But when you go to look at a magazine stand, the bright colours, the colours that go well together, that's what, you know,
It just makes it look
screams
more
at you.
professional.
because looking
Yeah.
back at my preliminary task now, if I changed all the colours here, or my cover lines to the colour of his suit maybe, I reckon that would look so much better.
Mm.
Just
Yeah.
like I did to the final front page, where he's wearing, you've got a bit of red there and the blacks and the whites there. I think it just looks a lot better, really.
Yeah, no, completely the same for mine. Like on my front page, contents page and double page spread, I try to use the maroon and the sort of dark grey as an element somewhere on every page, just so
and
that
you can tell that it's consistent, because it's something you notice, because you've got the big box at the top saying this month.
yeah, in
And I think
grey,
that's effective.
just so like the house style was there, and obviously like I used it, and because my artist name was Sam Grayson, it was a sort of play on words there as well to use the colour grey.
And it was effective.
Yeah.
So it looked good.
Yeah. No, mine's definitely changed. Like, I really liked the colours, black, white, grey and red,
It's like the
because
same as me.
yeah,
We're
it's
doing,
like
the same
grime and
genres.
hip hop. It's, you know, they're really out there. You've got the kind of dull colours, and then you've got the red that stands out. And I felt like I really did well, you know, stamping that onto my magazine.
Yeah, but also like popular magazines like Kerrang and Enemy, they all use
Yeah,
red.
red.
XXL,
Yeah,
hip
and
hop magazine.
red,
You see it in it all the time.
Red's
Yeah.
a really popular
Yeah,
colour
as I
for
was
music
saying, literally,
magazines.
like, red is all over the place.
Yeah.
I think it's
It's
effective
because
it
it's
does
so
stand out.
it's so eye
It does,
catching,
yeah.
especially if you've got darker colours, because that
Yeah.
red just like pops
Literally,
out on the
like,
page.
Looking at my contents page, just the red on the numbers, red on the grime.
Yeah.
Red
Yeah.
and I even use like a red photo.
No,
to
same
edit
for
it
me.
to make
Like
sure.
Yeah.
using the D for indie as red on
Yeah.
mine, like it contrasted well with the white and just stood out.
And the grey as well.
Yeah,
It
Yeah, I
looks
made
good.
the images in my ones black and white, and that like tied in the entire colour scheme. Like, if you were to look at my, you know, magazine now, you can tell that it's all from the same thing.
yeah,
If all the writing was stripped off, just from the photos and the colours, you can tell that you can automatically tell the genre it'd be, and
Absolutely.
also.
It's generally important.
very important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It actually kind of makes or breaks the magazine.
yeah.
But I think we all managed to capture it nicely
Yeah.
throughout our actual final task.
It shows the brand of your magazine.
Yeah.
Like this is what your magazine
Especially
represents.
where me and Brooke's magazine genres are quite similar, and yours is completely different. You can tell, because your colours are more like, not saying our genres aren't sophisticated.
Yeah.
Yours looks more like
It's almost
sophisticated.
softer.
yeah, it's a lot more
Whereas
minimalistic than
Ours
yours.
is more like bright in your face. and
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah.
And I think it looks good.
Yeah, should we move on to layout next?
Yeah.
Do one of you want to go first?
Yeah, alright then. So, obviously on my front page for my preliminary task, I can admit there was not much layout to it. I kind of followed the basics of the masthead in the skyline, the main cover line, like, central, and then all the others around the sides. And for my contents, I followed the basic convention of a three columns. But overall, I don't really think it looks that good. And through our research, I found that actually you don't actually have to have a basic convention of 3 columns for your contents page, but it actually does look more effective.
Yeah, I only used one column in
Yeah.
mine in the final task.
So I think I made it look more, although I did kind of use 3 columns, I made it kind of look a bit more effective by pasting a photo of a pull quote on it. And I think that's another thing, pull quotes all throughout, even on the double page spreads.
Yeah.
Placing one like kind of slanted at the top.
It just
My
draws
second.
like the target audience's attention to
Yeah.
what your article's going to be about.
And then for my first double page spread, by putting the big blocks of text to the side, it just kind of followed that like sleek convention I had all the way throughout. Because even though it was a grime magazine, I still wanted it to keep quite nice.
Yeah.
And looking back at it now, like to my contents page to my final page contents page, like the difference in like the cleanliness, I would rather say.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It's almost like you expect things to be in your face, but they could be in your face and look
neat.
professional and neat and
And
you know.
also as well,
nice,
having looking back, another big thing is the titles for each of things we're going to talk about in the columns.
Yeah.
Compared to the actual final task, where I actually made sure it was big borders you could actually see.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part.
No, same for me. Like for my preliminary task, my front page, just the cover lines, some you can't even see, and I don't know why I chose the same colours as what I used in the background, but I regret it now. And they're just, it's too cramped. Like I definitely put way too many in that was needed, but I've learnt that as like on my final task, on my front page, I've spaced them out a lot better so that the audience can actually see every feature in my
looks more
magazine.
clean as well.
And like on my contents page, I chose to do more of an effect behind each of the subtitles so that it stood out more than just put in the text.
Compared to actual preliminary task where literally all we done was just write it.
Yeah,
there's no justification of anything. It was just put it straight on.
I don't even think mine are the same size on my prelim task.
The US.
Yeah, the images on my final contents page are very different because, like I was saying, my preliminary task it almost looks really straight. It looks unnatural how straight everything is on the contents page. And so I decided in my contents page, in my final task, to kind of slant them. And I felt like that really worked because, as you can see, it's like, even though I've cut out a portion of the image, it's still out there. The fact that it's kind of off, you know, it's not straight 90 degrees, it's kind of slanted a little bit. It adds to the furniture, it adds to the way it looks, and yeah, I think it's really good. And
I think it's good as well.
It's sort of like, you know, like Vibe magazine where they have like the contents page with one column of all the features. I think it works really well.
Yeah, I think the one column really worked. I had already laid it out to start off with 2 columns, and I thought I really don't like this. It doesn't look
it would
good.
look too
and
cramped.
it's something different as well anyway. It's good and it looks good. And so another thing is as well, like platforms that we put our media. I think in the preliminary task we didn't mention anything about how to get in contact with it. Stuff like that. That's what I've learned, especially from all our research, that it's not just about reading the magazine. You get online platforms.
Yeah, there's a lot of other
so
ways.
Compared to like the final contents page, where you've got www.brandmag.co.uk, I think that's really fixed. So I was just looking at your contents page when you've got the want more, follow us.
Yeah,
that's
it's
exactly
really in your face. It's like, you know,
compared to the preliminary task when we've literally put, we haven't even got a page number. There's nothing.
Yeah, I did the same thing but for social media, like just because, you know, my target audience is mainly for teenagers or young adults, that using social media will be more appealing to them than maybe just ordering a subscription.
And although like the preliminary task isn't for a target audience who would mainly use a social media platform, I think it's still effective just because of the day and age we're living in now.
Yeah.
And I think another little thing to talk about is actual what we use to make all of it with, because when we done the preliminary task I only knew about Photoshop.
Oh, same.
I didn't even know about Photoshop. I'd never gone on Photoshop in my life.
I guess if we done GCSE media, a bit different. But we had some background, but I didn't know how to like make everything go to the side and how to transform photos. Like, I just about managed to get to the basics of editing a photo.
Yeah, mine's the exact same. Like you can even tell as well, just because of for the front page image, like it was way too exposed. It was just so bright. But with my final task, I learned how to correct like colours of it and blur the background so that the text stood out more.
That's the same as me, really, just like contrasting it. And I wanted my photos to look kind of vintagey. So I used Photoshop for that, and obviously using InDesign. We didn't, even though we didn't necessarily need to use it, we could have used it for our...
It was practice.
We could have used it for our contents and a preliminary task if we wanted to, but as we used it for our double page spreads, it enabled us to use all this, make it look actually proper professional.
And InDesign was so easy to place the text in and wrap it.
Yeah,
so like,
definitely.
And switching between the two using Bridge. If we tried that in preliminary, I'd have no idea what we was doing.
Yeah, like on InDesign for like a double page spread, you could wrap your text around it, and it made your magazine look so much more like professional and added more of a realism because that's how real magazines print their articles.
Speaking about realism, I think is what we talk about is the actual text we placed in our contents page and on the front page. Like going back to the cover lines, like all the stuff on my contents page, it doesn't sound interesting for my preliminary. It's like Dan Green, how this year he turned himself around. there's like nothing really to it.
Yeah.
Whereas on my final contents page, it's like gigs, Landlord, the album review, 2016, Grimes year.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was just
Like
about to say, I
that.
think we changed the way our language for our final task to appeal more to our
Yeah.
audience.
We didn't have a target market for this, did we?
it was just a school magazine, so a
Yeah.
lot of it is quite factual
Yeah,
and just simple.
Our target market were both genders, ages from 11 till sixth form ages.
Yeah.
It's like stuff I put like year 13 tell us about their Thailand trip. Everyone in year 13 might care, but no one else is going to
No
care,
one's-
are they?
Yeah.
Unless your parents, but
Yeah.
And that's another thing, like, double page spreads as well. Although we didn't have to actually make that, it's quite, like, the language we use, you can just tell it looks more professional.
Yeah.
I think just generally, like, what we learn, especially, again, through our research of all our, like, analysis of double page
Of
spreads.
the language that they
Yeah.
used.
It's
Yeah.
actually, like, you realise how much of a key the language is, because now we look back at our preliminary, like, oh, that sounds so boring.
Yeah.
Why would anyone want
Yeah.
to read
Want to
that?
read that
'Cause
magazine.
It's boring.
Yeah.
So in the language we use, especially me and Josie, because we did grime and hip hop, swear words, profanities, you can't put that in a school magazine.
No.
Yeah.
But because we knew who our target market were, we could put it in, knew it was going to attract them.
Yeah, it looks good. No, I agree. I agree. No, it looked good. It did
No,
look good.
yeah, but even for an indie magazine like mine, like, it's still got a bit of a rock feel to it. So I did include some swear words in the article, and it just, because of the target audience and who they are, they don't want to read a magazine
Yeah.
that's just boring and is just clean cut sort of thing. Like, you want to have a bit of edginess to your magazine.
I agree. Yeah. No, I see where you're coming from, but basically, yeah, from our preliminary, there's a lot we learned that we just just especially with all photos and stuff.
Yeah, I just think from prelim, there's so much more we've learned, like, technology wise as
Yeah.
well.
Oh yeah, let's say that too.
Like, there's just so much, like, even now there's still so much more we could have added. Like, I don't know about you guys, but, like, page furniture,
Yeah.
like, for my masthead, like, I added something to it.
Yeah,
Like, I put
same.
a blur in it when it didn't need it, but because I wanted it to stand out and look more real, I
Yeah.
added that. Whereas
That's
on my
like the splatters I put
Yeah.
on my contents page and double page spreads, just to give it, like, it probably could have gone without it, but just to give it that the genre, that grime feeling.
Yeah,
thought
but I
it
mean,
did
like, on my
affect it.
prelim task, it was just Wilmington Word, like,
Oh,
just
yeah,
a simple
same.
font. It had no.
There probably isn't even any
Unique
page
to
furniture.
it.
Yeah.
All there is the add-in of the badges at the bottom,
Yeah,
and that's about it.
That was our idea of page furniture. Like,
Yeah.
you can
Or-
see on my prelim task, my idea of page furniture was copying and pasting, underlining from the internet,
Yeah.
sticking it under some words and thinking, oh, that fills up the page.
Whereas now, but when we done our final task, I think we'd actually rather make it ourselves,
Yeah.
like the page furniture.
oh yeah.
It's more
Like,
realistic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially for, like, on my double page spread where I made the vinyl record, like, I
Yeah.
went into Photoshop and I made that rather than just copy and paste it from
Yeah.
the internet. Like, a lot of it for our final task was more independent,
Yeah, it was
and it
more
was
a lot about
definitely
learning,
more challenging tasks.
Yeah.
learning about what you actually want to do and, like, making it yourself. Because I obviously didn't use a vinyl because I didn't think it would appeal to my audience, but vinyl, sorry, but even putting in boxes and stuff looked
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I made my own album cover, and you can tell that it's been made because obviously it's not that professional.
Go on.
Go on, Brooke.
It is. No, it looks
Obviously, it's not that
professional.
professional, but you
It does
can.
look professional.
Yeah, no, I
you
did
can
the
tell
same.
from the skulls and the fingers.
Yeah, I did the same for my album cover as well. Like, I took a picture from before and, like, sort of used it for the name of the album, and as, like, a play on words sort of thing, as well as the vinyl record.
I've got another idea. Also, in our DPS, the pull quotes, wrapping the text around. If we tried that for our preliminary, I would have no idea.
No, it would be a disaster because we had
Literally.
no idea. I think, though, something that I've noticed we've all used in our prelim task that I didn't actually realise we all did was on our contents page, we all used the school logo behind our
Yeah.
Yeah.
text, and I guess
I
that
don't
could be
even think
considered.
it looks that good.
I mean,
though.
it could be considered a bit of page furniture because it
Yeah, it
was.
fills up almost.
Yeah, but I mean, it just wasn't original.
Yeah,
it
when
was
I
an
look
idea
at
we all took.
when I look at my contents, I don't see the WGSB logo in the background. I
Yeah.
see some watermark.
Because that's like us doing for our actual final task, instead of just putting like a blank page like we did for our contents. That's like putting our masthead massive
all
Yeah.
behind.
It
Yeah.
just wouldn't look good. Like
No.
you never see that in magazines.
Yeah.
I think with a school magazine, it somewhat worked just because
Yeah.
like we included the badge on other places.
Yeah.
It's like it's making the school known for the preliminary, but for the actual task, it wouldn't be effective because
There was more that we
you
could
don't
make
need
known.
to,
Yeah.
you don't need to show that much like acknowledgement of the
Yeah,
magazine.
because
and
as well,
that.
like for our double page spread, like down for the content on there where the page numbers are, you've put like the name of your magazine. So once again, it's like
Yeah.
branding
Yeah.
what your magazine is. So you
Yeah.
didn't have to have the name anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like, because it's with the page numbers, the audience can clearly
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, on
what
my
magazine.
contents page, I decided to just put a C there, and it overlapped
Yeah, I
the
think that
image of the
looks good as
person,
well.
Yeah.
but went behind the text. So it's there if you want to see it, and it fills up the page, but it also kind of carries it on instead of me just, putting the word cipher, making it really big,
Yeah.
stand out. It'd be the star of the show. Like, you wouldn't be looking at the image or the writing, you'd be looking at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like I think main thing we've learned is literally just making it look professional.
Yeah.
From progression, from the preliminary task to the full product.
All
Yeah.
the research we did.
I think
It has to look
research.
professional.
I think like where we did our prelim task, obviously we had no clue. We knew what some music magazines looked like, but we didn't like dissect them and proper look at every single detail. Whereas what we did for this, you can really see that there's so much that needs to be added to a music magazine.
Yeah.
You can't just put a name and then a bit of writing.
Yeah, you
like,
can't have boring writing either.
Yeah.
It's got to be something enticing. Like it's got to,
it's got to grab your
Yeah.
It's gotta
audience's
draw people
attention.
in, and it's got to be targeted to them.
and
Yeah.
that's why I think we all kind of slipped through on our preliminary task. But all the writing is just so bland.
So
and-
bland, yeah.
And obviously I know it's about school, and people are like, oh, you can't really say much like exciting about school.
Yeah.
But we could have
We could have
like,
done
Yeah.
better than that.
like putting in alliteration instead of just like WGSB students.
Yeah,
parents.
we could have.
What is WG6? Like
Yeah.
it's just not effective really. But I think generally there's a lot we learned from
From-
the progression
Yeah.
from that. And Brooke, have you got anything else to say? Or
No, carry on.
I don't know. I completely agree with Josie that the prelim task it just sort of looks very extremely different
Yeah.
from our final
it's weird
task.
actually looking back at
Yeah,
it. Do you know,
it is
I can't
weird.
believe I made that. 'Cause
Yeah.
Made it
how
and
much
thought it
we-
was good.
I mean, at the
Yeah.
same time though, I'm quite proud of what I did do for prelim, considering we had no idea how
Yeah.
to use Photoshop.
But
it was
even
my first time.
Yeah.
there.
looking back to our actual final task now, and it's like there's so much more we've learnt to include, like issue 15, the date.
Yeah.
It's all the little things that make the difference, like the barcode.
Yeah, and sort of
the
life
prices.
skills as well that we've sort of learnt on Photoshop, like just being able to make the layout of a
Yeah,
magazine.
yeah.
Like,
So I would've
you
been-
start off
if
with
we
a
was
blank
told
page.
Yeah.
to like make the double page spread for a school magazine, like just the layout of it, I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do
same.
that.
You can't do it without research.
No.
Yeah.
That is what
Re-
we did. We
the
researched
research.
for ages
Yeah,
and we
actually,
applied
yeah.
it.
As much as the research was a pain,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
such a vital bit.
and whilst you're
in-
doing it yourself, like I'm never gonna need to use this
But
information.
then you find
but-
yourself looking back at it
And-
like all the time. It's like the front cover analysis and the double page spread analysis.
yeah, like they took so much time, but in the end,
it was
was
worth it.
so useful.
And you look at official magazines that have been made for your genre, like for me, hip hop, vibe, stuff like that. You look at their contacts pages, their DPSs, their front pages. Then you look at mine. You think you can see clearly what I've taken.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's the red underlines.
Yeah, it doesn't look
different
completely
images. Yeah,
off.
Yeah.
Like, you can see the elements and the
Yeah.
links.
But then you look at your preliminary task and you probably look at other school magazines. You'd be like, where did I get all this from?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's completely like.
we looked at
Out of
other
the
people's
I think, yeah, I was
prelim
just about to say,
tasks.
for our prelims task, I think we used a lot of each
Yeah.
other's ideas.
It's like the
Yeah.
difference between looking at other people's to looking at real
media
Yeah.
products,
media products.
like big companies.
Stepped
Yeah.
up the game in what we could do.
Obviously, that was the start of our like media year, so we were looking at past years' prelim tasks, looking at them and thinking, oh, I'll just copy that. We weren't looking and thinking that text is good. I'm going to use that text. I'm
Yeah.
going to place it where they've placed it. I'm going to take an image that is, eye-catching and stuff like that.
Something that actually looks good.
Yeah, we didn't analyse it.
No.
And if we had been thrown in the deep end and said, oh, pick a genre, go do it now, we could have, like, banged it out in 2 weeks, but what would it look like?
Yeah,
It'd look even worse than our prelim.
Yeah, and I think as well, like a really big learning curve for me was like audience feedback, like in the
Definitely.
class when we used each other's like
going through that
criticisms, because this
it was
like
constructive criticism.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
It was
at the
able to help.
at the end of the day, like our class was my target audience,
Yeah.
like the age. So everything like you were saying was feedback I had to take on board
Yeah.
to improve it.
Whereas for our prelim, we just kind of had it in our heads. Had
Yeah.
final tasks. There was so much more indication for what we personally wanted to do, and I think that's as well as the research and all the planning. That's what made our actual final tasks so
Yeah.
good, because I do think we all produced, good final tasks.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think everyone's turned out really good because
Yeah.
everyone's is like very different. I don't think anyone's really got this like a similar or
Although everyone's doing the same genres,
Yeah.
everyone's got completely
different,
different.
yeah.
Compared to the preliminary tasks, like if we just look,
Yeah.
Yeah.
ours all literally kind of look the
Same,
except a different model.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it's all got the same layout. Whereas, like, compare your contents page, to my contents
Yeah.
page. You've got one column. Me and Gemma both have like 3.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
completely different.
We could be the same, very close to the same genre, but we've got our different spin on everything we do, and that is because of the research we've done, the types of magazines we've looked at.
And I think that's what we learnt, really. That diversity
Definitely.
is
Yeah.
very important. And
You can't put a twist on a school magazine, can you?
no.
There's no
Yeah.
ambition behind
there's
it. You
only so many things
Yeah.
you can do for a school magazine.
Yeah.
But for this, everyone was given just completely different ideas.
Yeah,
and
I
having
agree.
the freedom to do something that you enjoy, like obviously the fact that we got to pick our hip hop or our indie magazines, we were, stepping behind it and wanting to do it.
So overall, I think we definitely learnt a lot.
Definitely.
To say the least.
100%.
From looking back at our preliminary task and what we feel we have learned, I think audience feedback is very important.
Yeah.
Like audience, all
Research,
Yeah.
definitely.
I think the main change and difference between mine was really just the layout.
Yeah.
Like for my prelim task, it just looked so chaotic and just, but then
Yeah.
like too empty. It was like there was no in between. It was so busy on the front page, but
Yeah.
so empty on my contents page. Whereas for this, I've spread things out a lot more, and I just
Yeah.
overall I just think that my final task is just so much
And
better.
I'd
Yeah.
say for my main difference for me is the authenticity. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a word. But that of my preliminary task, it just doesn't look real. You can tell it's a preliminary task.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas the actual final front page, I think it looks professional. I
Like you
think-
could get away with that being like a professional's
Thank you.
work, whereas your prelim,
yeah,
it
it's
looks
not.
like a student's work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that's definitely my main turning point and
Yeah,
thing
I'd
I
say.
like the most.
Yeah, I'd say for me, definitely the layout and the colours. The colours is the big point. I've kind of condensed it down to the colours I wanted. I've chosen the anchor colour that is going to pull people in. I've chosen 3 others that are actually going to work well with that colour, work well with themselves, and I feel like it just made the magazine.
I agree.